Alright, so we are in Kyoto. So this is probably my favorite Japanese city of them all. And don't get me wrong, I do love the madness that is Tokyo and Osaka, but there's just something about Kyoto that just speaks to me and tells me that this is the quintessential Japanese city that you have to visit no matter what sort of travel itinerary you have in plan. Now, I think that's probably because, for me at least, there's sort of this unique blend of modern cityscapes as well as sort of the cultural and historic value this city has on offer. And there's no better place to experience that blend than in Gion. Gion is the old quarter of Kyoto. There is so much life there, and it's still the main entertainment district of the city. Tons of bars, eateries, everything you could think of. Now, obviously, it may not be like the old times of Kyoto, but for its modern iteration, it's pretty good.
If I had to pick one season to visit Kyoto, then it would have to be autumn. This is when the leaves change to their orange-red tones that make the city even more magical. But do book your accommodations months in advance, as autumn is arguably the busiest season in Kyoto. Spring is a fine alternative, while summer, despite its hot and humid weather, do enable you to experience the city's famous Gion Matsuri, the summer festival. So how many days do you need in Kyoto? Personally, I would suggest staying anywhere between 3 to 5 days, as that will give you ample amount of time to visit the most important places in the city. The best way to get around the city is via trains and buses. For that, you'll need an IC card. It works like any other electronic travel card. Add funds and just tap in and tap out. The card also works in most major cities, including Osaka and Tokyo. You may also consider the Kansai Fu Pass. This pass will cover public transportation throughout the Kansai region. It's worth considering if you plan to visit other cities in the region, such as Osaka and Nara. Kyoto can be divided into several key areas. The main ones you need to know about are Northern Kyoto, known for its several shrines and temples such as the Kinkakuji temple, is generally a quieter residential area. Arashiyama, which is known for its splendid natural scenery and features attractions such as the bamboo forest and the monkey park. Central Kyoto, where you'll find mostly hotels, shops, and restaurants. It's not the main sightseeing destination, but due to its central location and being a transportation hub, it's arguably the best place to stay if you want to have easy access to all of Kyoto's different areas. Gion, the city's old quarter and main entertainment district. The streets here are lined with historic buildings, specialty shops, bars, and eateries. Personally, I recommend staying anywhere near the Gion area if possible. However, if you plan to do a lot of exploring, then staying in the central area might be a better idea. For more information regarding transportation or accommodations, check the description box below. We'll begin in the area of Gion, Kyoto's old entertainment district. This is where you'll find the many famed historic streets and buildings in Kyoto. This is why the first thing to do here is to simply explore the many streets of Gion. Some noteworthy streets are Ninen-saka and Sannen-saka. Both are filled with different shops and cafes, all housed in traditional wooden buildings. There's also Hanami-koji, known for maintaining the original appearances of its many tea houses and buildings along its path. It's also a famous spot for spotting geisha and maikos, and you'll probably at least spot one if you hang around here for a little while. However, it's important to point out that the city has decided to impose a photography ban in Hanami-koji along with many other areas in Gion due to issues with certain tourists. As such, I encourage you to follow these local rules. You should also not miss the famous view of the Yasaka Pagoda. You can usually find the street filled with photographers trying to get that perfect shot. When you're ready for some food, there are two areas I recommend dropping by. The first is Nishiki Market. It's a narrow and long shopping street lined with hundreds of shops and restaurants. It's a great place to sample the many different flavors found in Kyoto. One place to check out in particular is this little seafood shop in the market called Kimura Fresh Fish. Once you order what you want, you're usually led to a place right inside this shop where you can quickly enjoy the meal while the shop continues to bustle away. For a lighter meal or just some refreshments, then I highly recommend visiting a shop called Past Baton. It's a small shop slash tea house which offers an amazing shaved ice dessert which is best enjoyed with a nice cup of tea. Another place I would suggest is Kagizen Yoshifuza. When I'm in Kyoto, I always make sure to stop by this shop. It's known for its traditional Japanese sweets. Their most famous dish is these kuzukiri noodles that you dip in this sugary sweet sauce. When in Kyoto, you should spend some time visiting the city's many temples and shrines. Some of my favorites are Natsuji Temple, famous for its aqueduct and rock garden. Eikando Temple for its beautiful garden, making it one of the best places to watch the autumn foliage in Kyoto. You may also consider visiting the Yasaka Shrine, which is the main shrine here in Gion. If you come during the summer, you can witness the famous Gion Matsuri festival, which is also held at the shrine. Finally, Kiyomizudera Temple, which is best known for its wooden stage near the main hall. The temple sits on a hillside which offers visitors a nice view of not only the city, but also the many cherry and maple trees below. After a day of heavy exploring, it's time to relax and enjoy a good meal. Other than Nishiki Market, the second area I recommend searching for a good meal is Pontocho. The area is filled with many types of restaurants and bars, anything from seafood, soba, and yakiniku. While Kyoto isn't really the prime destination for the famous Kobe beef, but if you still want to have a little taste in a casual environment, then I recommend swinging by Steak and Wine. Here you can order some authentic slice of Kobe beef.
This is a Kobe filet steak. I don't know what grade though, but it costs a lot, at least. Wow.
If you're not up for spending on Kobe beef, then alternatively, I recommend visiting the several establishments of Yakiniku Hero. They offer a great selection of quality meat, and it's relatively affordable. If a hearty bowl of noodles is more your thing, then one of the best places for some excellent ramen is at Ramen Sen no Kaze. I prefer their tonkatsu ramen, but they also offer a shio, shoyu, and miso version. This place can get quite busy, so you may find yourself waiting in a queue. Next, we move to the area of Arashiyama. Arashiyama is one of the most popular areas in Kyoto. It provides a nice change of scenery with its mountain range, rivers, and greenery. It is also here you can find the famous Arashiyama bamboo forest. The forest or grove is home to hundreds of bamboo trees, which can grow upwards of 30 meters. Being amongst the many trees is indeed a special experience that shouldn't be missed. Just remember to get here early if you want to avoid the crowds. Right next to the bamboo forest you can find Tenryuji, one of the main Zen temples in Kyoto and famous for its beautiful Japanese garden. If you're up for a short hike, then I highly recommend making the walk up to Senkoji Temple. The walk itself is a highlight as you walk through a dense forest area until you reach the secluded temple that offers a scenic view. You'll also be able to greet a famous little Shiba Inu, which is the temple dog of Senkoji. Not too far from the temple, you can find the Iwatayama Monkey Park, known for housing over 100 snow monkeys. It takes a good 20-minute walk up to see the monkeys, but once you're here, you can feed the monkeys by purchasing snacks supplied by the staff at the park. Before we leave the Arashiyama area, the last thing I would recommend checking out is the Sakono Railway, also known as the Romantic Train. It takes you on a scenic ride along the Hozugawa River, and it's a very popular scenic train ride, especially during the autumn season. Once you reach the last stop, you can either take the train back or opt for a 2-hour boat tour back following the Hozugawa River. I recommend the boat tour if possible. As we move away from Arashiyama, we head up to the northwestern end of Kyoto, where we can find the famous Kinkakuji Temple, also known as the Golden Pavilion. It's one of the most popular buildings in Japan and attracts thousands of visitors annually. The upper floor is covered in gold leaves, while the lower floor is built of natural wood. Originally built as the retirement home for a shogun, it was later turned into its current state, a Zen Buddhist temple. There are many other temples and shrines to explore in the area, but if you have the time, then I would recommend doing the Kurama to Kibune hike. It takes around 30 minutes by train from central Kyoto to reach Kurama, but it's well worth the trip since it's a lovely little hike that leads you through shrines and temples while being surrounded by the area's splendid nature. Finally, we head towards southern Kyoto, where you'll find arguably the most visited place in all of Kyoto, the Fushimi Inari Shrine. Fushimi Inari is the most important shrine dedicated to Inari, the Shinto god of rice. In Japan, foxes are believed to be Inari's messengers. This is why you'll find multiple fox statues spread across the shrine grounds. For most people, the shrine is mostly famous for its thousands of torii gates, which follows a network of trails leading up to Mount Inari.
Alright, so last year I was here in Fushimi Inari with my brother, and during that time we came here during the summer around, I think, like late afternoon, and there were a decent amount of people, but this time probably way too many. So we're just gonna jump in and take a few shots.
As with most popular places in Japan, you'll find crowds. But if you just keep going up the trail, you'll often find that the crowds thin out a bit. Alternatively, you can either visit during the morning or evening hours when things are a bit more quiet. Next to the shrine, you'll also find a little food market where you can try some street food and local snacks. We ourselves opted to taste a few items after our shrine visit. Alright, so that's it for this video on Kyoto. I've listed a bunch of things for you to do when you're in the city, as well as some food options along the way. If you're craving for some additional inspiration, then you can check out my top 10 Kyoto video where I list a few more activities on the list. But for now, I hope this video helped and gave you the information you needed for a great time in Kyoto. If you have any questions, then leave them in the comments below. This is Allan. Until next time.